Good morning and welcome to this thought for the day for Monday. Last week I declined to look at a chapter of Job and instead looked at the golden psalm of Psalm 27. But today, when I was offered the same choice between Job and a psalm, Psalm 44, I found the theme in each of them was pretty much the same, and you might like to look at Psalm 44 at some time after this and see how they compare. And the reading is Job chapter 19, and I'm not going to read quite all of it. Then Job replied, "How long will you torment me and crush me with words? 10 times now you've reproached me, shamelessly you attack me. If it is true that I've gone astray, my error remains my concern alone. If indeed you would exalt yourselves above me and use my humiliation against me, then know that God has wronged me and drawn his net around me. Though I cry, I have been wronged, I get no response. Though I call for help, there is no justice. He's blocked my way, so I cannot pass. He's shrouded my paths in darkness. He's stripped me of my honour and removed the crown from my head. He tears me down on every side till I'm gone. He uproots my hope like a tree. His anger burns against me. He counts me among his enemies. His troops advance in force. They build a siege ramp against me and encamp around my tent. Have pity on me, my friends, have pity, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you pursue me as God does? Will you never get enough of my flesh? Oh, that my words were recorded, that they were written on a scroll, that they were inscribed with an iron tool on lead, or engraved in rock forever. I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand upon the earth, and after my skin has been destroyed, yet I in my flesh will see God." You'll be familiar with the story of Job and of how a whole series of misfortunes came upon him with the permission of God, but at the hand of Satan, and of how he had 3 friends who came to comfort him, and of how they were no comfort at all. I can't resist asking you whether you know who the shortest man in the Bible is, and one of the answers has been Nehemiah, but the right answer is Bildad the Shuhite, and it was in answer to Job's comforter Bildad the Shuhite that this chapter was spoken out by Job. Sometimes you may hear of people who find that God has gone absent and that his face seems to be turned away. And it's tempting to think, as Job's comforters did, that it's those people's fault, and that if God seems to be absent, it's because they've turned their face against him or done something wrong. But the whole story of Job counters that argument, and as indeed does Psalm 44. And it tells us that there are times when we can't understand why it is, but God does seem absent. And if you come to the end of Job, you see the encounter of God with Job, in which God just points up the limitations of our human understanding, and that there are things going on in the heavenly places that we just don't know about. And that applies to the way in which God deals with us in our lives. And so Job denies that his situation is because of the things he's done wrong, and suggests that God is at work in ways that he doesn't understand, but that he is turning his face away from him at this time. But this passage has those wonderful words of hope inserted in them, words which we're familiar with, words which pitch up in the Messiah as a great refrain, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God. And this is the hope of Job, and it's the hope that we're invited to cling on to. It's the hope that the psalmist had, that in those days when things seem to go wrong and we don't know why it is, and we really can't see any reason in ourselves why they should happen, then we should cling to hope in God and trust that he is the God of our salvation and that he will see us right in the end, just as he did with Job, just as he did with David. This is the message of Scripture, that God is the God of our salvation, that our hope is not in vain when our hope and trust is in him. And I hope that that's a thought that you can hang on to this week. So may God bless you in all that you do. Have a great week.